For those of you who don't know, I'm Nancy Flowers-Mangs. What I'm going to talk about today is the new YaleSites themes. We're calling them YaleSites 2016 themes. The reason that we have new themes is because we are aligning ourselves with the new design for yale.edu. I'm sure everybody has seen that yale.edu has redesigned and has a new web presence. And so with that, the YaleSites themes kind of started to look a little bit stale. Plus, it's been about 3 years, so it's time for a change. So we've taken the stuff from YaleSites, from yale.edu, and we've added it to our already existing structure in the theme, and we've also added some improvements. So you have the same structure underneath, you have the same admin interface. Basically, YaleSites is the same. All this does is give you another option for how to change the way the site will look. So we're using the Yale typeface for the heading styles, the traditional Yale blue, which is a little bit darker and less bright, the sans font versus Verdana in the body text, those kind of light things. And I'm just going to show you some screenshots, walk you through a few of the features, and then I'm going to show you an actual demo of how it will work. So this is the new standard theme, and very much like our existing standard theme, it still has the same layout. The right sidebar goes up against to the right of the rotating header image. The news falls below. You've got your same news calendar, all the same features that existed in YaleSites are there, but you can see it's a lighter look. It's got more white space, and the blocks have a little bit of a different design. By the same token, we have the boxed theme, and the boxed theme is a more subtle box. The other one, it was real obvious that it was in a box, and this is just it's a little bit more subtle with a nice line around it that helps to outline that. And then the wide. And the wide, I really like the wide because the picture really goes across the screen. And in this screenshot, you can see that we did have a rotating feature that you could create yourself, and we had instructions in the how-to guide. The rotating feature is now going to be part of YaleSites as just a module that you can turn on and add photos and put the block in the right place. So just turn this down. I don't know why it's... This one is perfect, so it doesn't buzz. So anyway, and I'll show you how this works. There are new color and font options for the menu and the block. And the one main thing that we did was not only did we change some of the colors so that they would go with the new theme colors, but we also changed so that no matter what color combination you use, it won't look bad. Because, you know, I'm not very good at picking out colors either, and sometimes my color choices aren't the best when I combine them together. So now you're pretty much guaranteed that if you decide to have the top menu medium blue and the sidebar menu orange, it's going to go together. In the menu, there's also a condensed, a serif, and a sans serif font. And this is the block colors, so it's the exact same colors, carbon, medium blue, Yale blue, orange, and green. And then there's the sidebar block, and it's a little bit hard to see. It'll show better. But the one on the bottom has a hint of gray background, just to make it look a little bit different. So we also have, that just kind of indicates that the different, you can change the typeface on the menu and on the sidebar heading, and the different table styles, different heading styles. I'm just going to kind of go through this really quick. This is something that's a little bit different. Those of you who are familiar with YaleSites who use block quote, or worse, copied and pasted something that used block quote from an old HTML site into a Yale site, knew that there were these blue quotes around all the text. So that's because of the block quote style, but now we've styled that a little bit differently. So there's only one block quote, one quote at the beginning, because the issue that people didn't like about the other one was that the other quote would end up at the very end, and it didn't look quite as well. So now there's only one quote. And then this quote citation is a separate style in and of itself, so that you can add that as part of use this like a real quote is meant to. We've improved the features that we have. The rotating feature is wider and fits better in the wide, and a little bit bigger. Calendar of events, you can see that some of the styling changes. So everything basically behaves the same. It just looks a little bit different. Photo gallery, you can see that looks a little bit different. The video, and we have the video listing, but we also have a featured video block. And the rotating feature, as I said, has been added. Now, this is the part that I'm really excited about, is that, and anybody who has tried to expose regions. So in our initial YaleSites theme, we built the theme with the regions that were the most popular. And we kind of hid the other regions, primarily because we were afraid that everyone wants their site to look like Yale News, which has a lot of different regions and a lot of different places for content to go. And the difference between Yale News and most of the other sites that would want that is that Yale News has tons of content, so they could take advantage of those regions. So we hid those regions because we didn't want people who didn't have a lot of content just putting kind of dorky information in there and making their site look not good. But now we feel like everybody's kind of up a level and understands that. We've done a lot of education, and we've got a lot of people who have been using YaleSites for a while and understand that content is the most important part of their website. And that's right. And so now those regions are available on any page. You don't have to create deltas anymore. All you have to do is put a block on the page, in that region on that page. Now, again, that doesn't mean that you can just go and put content in these regions, and I'll talk about that when I do the demo. You can, but you want to put some thought into it. The only difference now is you don't have to build it. It's already built into your pages. So these are the preface regions, and these are the postscript. And you can see the style is different. And you can see there the featured video block that's now part of your video feature. And then we've added a couple of new menu options. The menu that will go across the top. Sometimes you would have to add that banner menu to your site, so that's already part of it. And then the responsive menu styles have changed. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works now. I'm going to go into an actual demo. But I just want to kind of wanted to walk you through that. So first, so right now, the only way that the themes are available is if you sign up as an early adopter and you come to training and we help work you through the process. The reason is because while we've tested this pretty carefully, there's still going to be stuff that's going to happen because you've done things probably a little bit differently than the other person has done it. And so we want to make sure that we catch as many bugs as possible and address as many issues as possible till, before we open it up to the public. When these do become available, what will happen is all new Yale sites that are provisioned will automatically come with the new theme. It'll look something like this, although the content has been updated. This site just doesn't have the most updated content. But we've refreshed the pictures and the news items so that we no longer will have news items from 2012, which is a good thing. And then they can go, just like you do in your current Yale site, you'll just go to YaleSites, Appearance Design Options, and you'll pick the theme that you want. Again, just like this, so there's no difference in how this is done. This is not any harder than it was to pick a theme before. You'll pick whatever color it is that you want, the style that you want, the header font, the block color, make it all blue, and then here's where you can kind of see that, and then save configuration. So it's going to work exactly the same as it did before. So. And again, this is for people who have the new, are getting a new site provisioned. And then if I wanted to change it again, I can just go in here and I can make it wide. And I could change all those other things too. But I just want you to know that that's how easy this is. And this is one of the advantages. If your site is using one of our YaleSites templates, this is one of those advantages. You don't have to rebuild your site. You don't have to copy and paste your content into a new system. You just can pick one of the new themes and have a nice, fresh look that ties in with the yale.edu site. Okay. Now, where it gets a little bit, and this is part of the reason why we want to do some testing, where it gets a little bit different. Oh, well, let me just show you this a little bit more built out. So this is an example of the YaleSites theme that I've worked with and added some content to. So you can see that this is the new refreshed content that will come with it, along with new news articles. And then I want to show you the exposed, so you can actually see how the exposed, where did the blocks go? Well, there's supposed to be 3 exposed regions up here that aren't showing up. There are the regions. I'm going to go in and put them on there. So here are the Postscript regions that are available. I'm going to go into blocks. And I swear they're in there. No, they aren't. Are we in the right? Sorry, here. Preface 1, sorry. Preface first. So this is all you have to do is just assign it to the preface first, preface second, and preface third region. I think that this wasn't assigned to the specific. I'm just having trouble seeing this because it's so small. And it's assigned to that exposed region, or to that page. Where's preface? So again, this is the preface region. The ones on the bottom are called Postscript. And these are great areas to add to your, to add things that you want to feature, things that you want to stand out. But again, those regions are available. So if I wanted to put this, like, so I have the About Us page. Well, that's probably a bad example. Well, let me create a new page. If I wanted to add those regions, so here I am with another page, it's just a basic page. If I wanted to add those other regions there, I can just go into this block and just basically assign it to the region. Again, I just use pictures for this region. For this particular one, the ones in the top, you can put anything because it's a block. So again, I'm just telling it that I want it also on the another page. And so now when I go to another page, there they are. So again, those regions are exposed. In the current themes, those weren't exposed. They weren't available for you without creating a delta. Which, you know, I mean, if you had enough practice, it wasn't real hard, but it could be challenging. So you can create this layout any which way that you want. A couple of other cool things about this is that you can do, oh dear, I forgot what the CSS is. If you don't want to have that black line there, what, Victor? Is it plain block? No, I don't think that one works. Plain. I'll go to Basecamp. I knew I was going to forget. Block plain. So you can put this, well, all these instructions will be available too by the time we go live, so specifically so I can remember. But you can actually take off the formatting too as well. So there's lots of little things that you can do, and the goal with doing this was because people want to align with yale.edu's look and feel. We want to give you the tools so you don't have to be doing a lot of CSS injector, because it gets tedious. And I will say that the people who are going to have the easiest transition are the people who use the least CSS injector. And I will also encourage you, if you go this route, is to go into it without thinking that you want to somehow customize it, because the focus, again, is on your content. And this gives you a great canvas for presenting your content in a way that makes it interesting for people to find what they're looking for. And that's what it's about. Yes?
If you do have sites that have tons of CSS, it seems to me that you could just come here and start from scratch and plug your content in.
Yes, you could. Yes, yes.
Might be a lot easier.
It depends. So the comment question was, if you had a site that had a lot of CSS in it, or was a custom theme, couldn't you just restart and plug your content in? And yes, you certainly could, or you could just turn the theme off and comment out the CSS. It's whatever you think is easier for you. Some of the sites that we've worked with have used CSS, and we have just commented it out. There's another site that we're using that had a lot of additional module configuration that we found unnecessary. And so we had to remove that module configuration as well. Yes?
What if you're taking payments, but you're doing it through a plugin to an external vendor, like redesign or Blackwood Payment Services? Can you use this for a giving site then?
You can use this for a base site for anything. You can use it for anything that you could do with the other theme, you could use this for. Yep. So what I want to show you now is, here's an original, not that this is how it would come, because once the themes are available, it's going to come with the new theme. But this is the older theme, and I just want to show you how it's going to work if you have an older theme that doesn't have a lot of CSS, and how things are going to change. So this is the existing standard theme, the out-of-the-box theme. And I requested that I wanted to have this set up with the new themes. So going forward, you will have to do a refresh request, but keep in mind that this is not available now unless you sign up as an early adopter. But that would be how you would get it. So it's not just going to happen that these themes are available for you. You will have to put in a request, because there are people who are not going to want to move off this. And so this is not mandatory. But we're hoping that we've already had so many people interested in the yale.edu look and feel, so we're hoping that we won't even have to really go out and sell this to people, that people will just want it. So, but basically, I had the refresh done, and then I'm going to go to Appearance and Design Options. Instead of getting the old Design Options page, I get the new Design Options page, which is what you saw before. And it's going to work just the same way it did that I showed you before. You can pick one of the three themes. You can pick the navigation color. Now, if for some reason, let's say you have a site or a suite of sites that you want to keep in the older theme, and you've got your supervisor or boss said to you, we need another theme, and I don't want to have to change all the other three. You can click on here, and you can actually go back to the original themes if it's necessary. We're hoping that no one will want to do that, because you probably wouldn't request a refresh. But if that happens, it is possible. So again, it's not mandatory, but we're hoping that people will go this way. Anyway, so then I just pick the theme that I want, and I pick a color, change my font. I really like the condensed myself. Blog, we'll make it green. Blog, save configuration. And voila, fingers crossed, as always, there we go. So you can see how easy it is. I wish I had a site. Anybody want to volunteer? No. Anybody want to volunteer to be the bad site? I don't really have a site that had a lot of CSS, but in the testing that we've done about 5 sites testing at different degrees of complexity. And the worst that we had to do was to go into the CSS injector, which isn't turned on this site, and comment all that CSS injector out. The other thing is we had a site that used a lot of panels. And it's not something that we use in our design or our foundation of our Yale site themes because we feel like it's unnecessary, and it really is. It interferes with easily making things responsive. And so we had to actually go in and turn off the panels. So that was actually more work than turning off the CSS. But once we turned it all off, it worked really well. Because this is all based on regions and placing your content in the regions that exist, which is pretty foundational to Drupal. Yes?
What about things like JavaScript and jQuery? If you have places where people are making options, so you click off a button X and box Y gets grayed out.
So those are custom things that will probably have to be taken into consideration. It wouldn't be something that we would necessarily support out of the box as part of our YaleSites themes.
But you could do it, like if you had
Sure.
somebody in your department that they do that for a living.
Mm-hmm.
You could just do that one little piece.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, anything that you could do with the previous YaleSites themes, you can do with the current, the 2016 themes. Did you have a question? Uh-huh. Oh, but wait. That was, like, I paid her to say that. Because, have you seen it lately?
Not in the last 3 months.
Okay, so look at it now. Because I know what you're saying. That one photo, it was like all buildings.
Well, it was a lot of architecture, but I'm wondering, one, is there a way to search on how many other sites are going to use the exact same pictures I'm using? I'm going to choose,
Right. No.
you don't want to drop into different sites and you all end up with the same.
Right.
flying by.
Right. Well, even with what we had, which I thought was pretty limiting when we first started, we rarely had people using the same photos. And I think that between our Flickr account and the Campus Photos site, that I think it's pretty easy to find a lot of diversity in the sites, a lot of different types of pictures.
But we can add our own photos.
You can add your own photos, yes. But for people who don't have the desire to go out and take pictures, yes. Yes, Chris?
The homepage slider, are the individual slides maybe configured to point to specific content? When you click on that?
Not for a rotating header image feature, but for the rotating feature, yes. You can actually click on it and go to a specific page or go to a page outside if it's a news story that's outside.
What's the difference between the rotating header and the rotating?
So the rotating header, at best, can give you a caption that's gray at the bottom here and doesn't link to anything. And let me see if let me just make sure I find the right theme. One of these has the rotating feature as opposed to, so bear with me. I think it might be boxed. I know that there's still a couple bugs in this, so we're working them out, so it might not be 100% ready as well. So the rotating feature, you can have a title and a caption, and it actually links to content. And it has a little bit of a different design. So the rotating feature is new. We had instructions for how to configure it in our previous version, but in the new version, it's going to be part of the package. The rotating header image, which is basically just an image that cycles through, was always part of the YaleSites. Yes, Kathy?
So if you choose the wide theme, is it challenging to find the right size photo to fit in there? Can you, any square photo?
No.
Afford it? Do you have to?
No, that's a really good question. You do have to pick the right photo. You can't use a photo like this in your rotating head. It's just not going to work. So yes, there is editorial decisions that need to be made so that the right image and content and things that are featured in these areas.
And that line just looks so wide. You have to do anything special, or you just need a
Just
adapter?
right. You just need a long, like I think it's 15. It's 1,115 pixels. Again, which again, if you go to this site, getting a picture that big is not a problem. Getting a picture from an old HTML website that size is a problem. But you know, that chances are that image is probably pretty old anyway and needs to be updated. So, yeah. Anybody?
It'll give you the specific. If you try to put the wrong size image, it'll tell you that it's too big or too small, and it'll tell you the right size, the specific size.
Right.
Oh, that's in Drupal 7.
Well, this is Drupal. This is still Drupal 7.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same thing. Right. It'll tell you the exact pixels in there. That's right. That's right. And there'll be instructions for how, you know, when this is fully rolled out, there'll be specific instructions for how to use this and the new features and the new requirements. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Daphne.
On the exposed thingies, the preface and all,
Uh-huh.
are those clickable? So like if I wanted to feature like a lecture and I wanted them to be able to click to get to like the calendar element or something, would that be easy to do too?
Sure, because it's just a block.
Okay, so
So you can put.
I know you said you just put images in there, so I just want to make sure.
Right. So this is a block, and if I wanted to link this to the Yale calendar, I would just select the image and do and that would be a link. Okay. Now the links that the featured text that I used down here, this is from the view. So basically, and again, this is part of the video feature, but basically it's a view, the video view with a block display that has one item, and it's the most recent item, and then you don't have to worry about styling it. You just have to worry about whatever the most recent item is the one that you want to be there, and that will automatically show up. And so then, because it's part of the feature, that block shows up in the block listing in the disabled area in the views. So there's a lot of other blocks down here that you may have never taken advantage of because you didn't really have a place to put them. Now there are areas to put them. But remember, you have to have content. You know, so again, this is a great way to refresh your site, but it's really just the external facing of the content. So if you're thinking about using this to refresh, don't forget to think about your content too, and that might need a little bit of updating and freshening up to keep people's interest. I mean, it should be done more than once every 3 years, and I'm sure most of you are doing that, but you know, it's important. Right? Yes.
So speaking of that, these themes are built off of Drupal 7.
Yes.
So as you know, the AYA website is Drupal 6, old version of Drupal
Right.
6. So I'm just envisioning, probably when we move over to Drupal 8 Cloud, how hard it's going to be to move our site over.
That's a whole separate issue, but I can assure you that by the time we get to Drupal 8, it will not be as big of a task. Okay, part of Drupal 8 is the migration path. Makes it easier, right? The themes that will be part of Drupal 8 will be these themes.
Right,
Okay, but that's separate from what we're doing right now. We're just staying in Drupal 7. We're just giving you the look and feel so that everybody can align with Yale's branding.
Right, so when we're ready, we pick a theme.
Right, exactly. And these themes will not be available in D6.
Okay, no, I hope I don't.
Just in case anybody was wondering. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes. Sorry.
So
The reason that I'm thinking is because your site is so different. The new site that your group is putting together is so different that I think that isn't a question that's easily answered. And I don't, Dana's here. Oh no, but Dana's the finance side of that. I guess Lilani was who you would say. I would speak with. Yeah, I think that they're organizing things so that it will be easier for you to manage. I think so. So this isn't if you're so for a lot of people might not know this, so I'm just going to tell everybody if that's okay. Except if you came to Dana's presentation, then you know HR and finance and business operations are merging all of their God knows how many sites together, lots, so that everything's going to be in one place. And so that's what we're talking about here. But that's going to be a custom theme, so this kind of stuff won't be available. You can run reports to find out what fields are used on your site, but you're not really going to be able to tell what fields. You're going to be able to tell what fields are available on your site, but not necessarily what fields you're using. You'll be able to go into your structure and blocks list and see what blocks are there and what regions they're there in your D7 site. But you're not going to necessarily be able to generate a report.
So I was just thinking of the save limit, so here's
Right.
where I started. It looks like when you're configuring save configuration, it changes it live.
Well, you won't be doing this. You won't be doing this. You won't be doing this. This is a good to know information in case you're doing a site outside of that site, but within that site, you will not be doing this. Because everybody's going to have the same look and feel. You're going to have what's called a custom theme. So it's going to show up in a totally different environment. The admin interface will look the same, but the outside will look different. Okay? Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so anyone who's interested in being an early adopter, hold on. Get your pens and pencils ready. So basically, if you go to YaleSites.yale.edu/early adopter, and just, you can do that today. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be evaluating sites to make sure that they fall within the criteria of what we're looking for. Then we'll be calling you and scheduling. The process involves us taking your live site and moving it into a development environment. We will have training, so training is mandatory, not, because we want to make sure that we're helping you and learning from that experience. So the training is mandatory. It's not more than 3 hours. I'm pretty sure that you saw how easy it was for me to just change the theme, so unless there's some weird stuff in there, it should be pretty easy. Then there would be a content freeze while you're doing it. That would be the one thing to take into consideration. So for instance, the commencement site right now said they don't really want to do this right now because it's kind of busy season for them and they're constantly doing updates. So if you're in that part of your cycle and the department that you're working at and it's really busy and content's constantly being changed, wait. We have two trainings scheduled so far. One in April and one in May. I think the first one is April 14th. And like I said, I don't think it'll be that hard, but it could be a lot of fun for anybody who's interested. So, yes, Kathy.
I have a question about a calendar. Is that too far off?
A little bit, but maybe we can see if anybody else has any questions about the themes. Okay. Oh, yes. It's hard to. So, I mean, we would hope by the end of April or May. Any thoughts, Franz, on when it'll be officially?
Will it be available at large?
Yeah.
We should be rolling them out quickly through the early adopter program. So it's never going to be something where you just immediately turn it on because we want to make sure that there's no interruption in service so everything goes as smoothly as possible. So we feel like if you sign up to the early adopter, we'll definitely have it. You'll be able to turn that on before the end of April.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
I'm moving a HTML site on Belsenor. Would I be eligible to use these?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Anybody who's in D7 is pretty much eligible, especially if you're not using. If you're using a custom theme, that's where it gets a little sketchy. But that's been done in our testing. So. Yeah. So if you think you're interested, just sign up for early adopter because then we'll call you and we'll have a conversation about it. Okay?